Happy Monday and welcome to the Wolff Den. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we welcome Deb Whitcas to the Wolff Den after some technical difficulties, but glad to have you here.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, happy Monday.
I'm here.
Welcome to the Wolff Den. Let everybody know who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome. I'm Deb Whitcas. I am a two-time Emmy-winning television producer. Just got nominated for my 7th Emmy. I find out on June 25th whether or not my show won. And I'm also a sports reporter on the side. So I'm obsessed with football. Also MLB too. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now. Things are a little crazy.
Well, congrats on the nomination. That's exciting.
Yeah.
How did you get into sports? Where'd you grow up? What's the background?
So here's the deal. I've always been into sports and entertainment. When I was 5, I told my mom to get me an agent. She didn't, thank God. My father was he was a professional bowler. Also, he played for the minors for the Phillies. So I basically grew up at the Vet. I've always been around sports. Played softball, played tennis, all the above. I always loved football. But I kind of went into entertainment when I started because I was obsessed with Hollywood and everything. I wanted to work for MTV. I wanted to do music videos. I wanted to work for entertainment, blah, 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 blah. And, that's kind of what I concentrated on in the first part of my career. And then I've always been a huge Eagles fan. I bleed green. So I just following the Eagles, and then recently been way more into the entire league. And I found myself at work paying more attention to sports and football. And one day I just woke up and I was like, why am I not doing this? Like, I care more about sports than I do anything else. And sports, honestly, is the best reality show out there. I mean, everything is real. Everything is passionate. And I love following all of the storylines. They change so fast, second to second, minute to minute. So like I said, best reality show ever. So yeah, I decided to start transitioning into sports and sports reporting. And I've been doing that now for about 1.5 years.
Okay. How did you get into Hollywood and all of the, that line of work? Did you go to school for it?
I did.
Auditions?
I actually started when I was 12. So started in front of the camera when I was 12 years old on a show in Philadelphia called Dance Party USA. Kelly Ripa used to be one of the hosts.
Okay.
She's a little bit older than me. So started there, and then was one of the news reporters from my high school. We had a little TV station. And did that, and then went to college for television. So I have a degree in mass communications. I doubled in mass media and public relations, and then minored in theater. So I've always had a camera attached to my hand or it pointing at me. So,
yeah. How did you get your first break?
God, my first break. That would have had to been Dance Party USA. My friends and I were, going just as dancers, super excited. We were 12, and they asked me to be on the show as a regular. My parents weren't too happy, but that was my first break because there were guys there who were like 19 I was dancing with, and here I am 12. Didn't look 12.
Yeah.
But I was. So that's really the first thing. And then in college, just little things here and there. And then in college, I actually was on spring break, and MTV was down there. And of course I was in the casting director's faces 24/7. So they casted me for the dance show called The Grind. Again, I'm dating myself. And then also Jerry Springer was down there. And he was doing his spring break. What would you do for $20? His Springer break, and I was casted on that.
Was that in Panama City?
It was. I was in Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah, but I actually casted a blind date in Panama City, so I used to have a blast in Panama City too. But
yeah,
no,
We went there, didn't have a great time. We were underage, and the people that invited us were not very inviting once we got there. But we were on the beach for a little bit. I think we got into Club La Vila for a few nights, and then we went back early. It was kind of a disaster, but that was the height of MTV being there and all of the craziness that was going on. So how do you turn being a subject of the shows to getting a job to being involved with the shows?
Right. So, and that's exactly what happened. So when I was on the show, and then I tried to get backstage again to talk to Jerry, didn't happen. And then it was our last night in Jamaica, and I was gonna stay in and read Shakespeare. Thank God I didn't, because there was plenty of time to read Shakespeare later. My friends coaxed me into coming out. Thank God they did. And Jerry and Steve, his bouncer, showed up at the bar that I was at, and he obviously he recognized me from the show, and he was like, "You did great today at the show." And I was like, "Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity." And I was like, "Look, I'm a TV major. I love your show. The show was #1 at the time, beating Oprah." I was like, "Is there any opportunities for me to work at the show?" And he actually responded, and he said, "There's a woman named Rhonda Funk who today is one of my dear friends still. She go back to school, contact her, tell her that I sent you, and then we'll see what we can do for an internship." And I was like, "Okay, great." So that's exactly what I did. I got back to school, went to the library, was researching, because the internet wasn't huge then. It was just kind of coming to be. And I found Rhonda Funk's name and wrote to her, and sent her my resume, sent everything. And she said, "Look, if you have enough guts to go up to Jerry Springer on spring break and ask for a job, you have enough guts to work here. I have one more internship opportunity available. If it's yours, if you want it." So I was like, I'm in. So I moved from Philadelphia to Chicago for the summer. My dad gave me some money for a graduation gift. And I was on a plane and, went to Chicago and interned and made some great friends that I still talk to today. And then I got hired as a part-time researcher, working like 2 days a week, going through phone calls of people calling in and writing down what they're saying. I did that for hours a day. And I also was a hostess at Hula Hands and worked at a club in order to stay in Chicago and pay my rent. And then I kind of worked my way up in Springer, and I was there for 3 years and was producing by the time I left. So, just working hard gets you where you want to be.
How did you? Well, obviously, winning an Emmy that is great. That's kind of validates it. At what point in your career did you think, I'm pretty good at this? I think this is going to be what I'm doing.
I don't know. I don't even know if I've ever thought that. I just kind of wake up every day and do what I do. I guess I've just, it's always just comes really natural to me. So like I said, I was a teenager and always had a camera in my hand. So I've never really thought like, oh, I'm good at this. And honestly, I know I am, but I have a lot of friends that are great producers. So I always say, you're a better producer than me, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I've ever said that.
Plus, look, you got
what I do.
You got the hardware to prove it. Obviously, you've worked with some of the biggest names in show business. So, how did you? What did you win the Emmy for?
So I've actually won 2. My first one was for Lucky Dog on CBS. Brandon McMillan was the host. He's no longer on the show, but the show is still on. So it's on the Saturday morning block of shows. And then my second one was for Paternity Court, that's actually what we're nominated for come June 25th as well. So that the show's actually been nominated 4 years in a row now. So we're all excited to have that honor.
Does it get? If it's not, it happens to go that way a lot in awards. You see the same shows nominated every year, and then it's like, all right, why did they not win? Maybe something else shot up. Is there like a competitor that shot up and is,
You know what? You No, I mean, when we won, we were against Judge Judy, who had just gotten the Lifetime Achievement Award, and she's amazing. I mean, she is a spitfire. She's such a talent. So we were like, there's no way in hell we're winning this thing. You know what I mean? And then they said our name and we were like, what? So you just never know. I mean, you work as hard as you would if you're not nominated to.
Right, of course.
You know, it's just an honor to be recognized by your peers. But you know,
I feel like Judge Judy, if you win that many years in a row, that you have to keep improving and like making it a better show than it was. It could be a great show.
Yeah.
You should be great at it, but if you're not improving it, and it's the same thing every year, there's got to be something else out there that's worth being rewarded. I don't know. I don't follow it.
Right.
I certainly watch Judge Judy here and there. It's amazing what she's been able to carve out for herself, which is, I mean, people, you start Googling how much money she's worth, it's insane.
It's insane. But I mean, she's worth every penny of it. So she's the highest paid woman. I think the highest paid woman on TV, to be honest. She's definitely the highest paid judge.
You start talking about afternoon shows, I don't even know how many you can name, but you're definitely going to name Judge Judy. Now there's 100 offshoots of those too. There's like 10 different judge shows, and you know, I'm sure they're all okay in their own right, but you know, when you're the first and the best, it's people are going to copy what.
It's interesting because Judge Judy wasn't the first. Divorce Court is actually the first, and it's still on air. I mean, that it dates back to the 50s with Divorce Court, and there's been several different versions of it. And I worked for Divorce Court for a good 6 or 7 years. It was just actually at their production studios in Atlanta last week, visiting some of my old coworkers. Literally was crying because I missed everybody so much. But yeah, Divorce Court was the first one, and there's been 3 different versions. The first one was scripted. The one in I guess maybe it was the 70s actually. And then this one has actually been on since 1999. So
we've had people, our friends who are lawyers, said they had people who wanted to go on TV to settle it, and you know, there's some crazy trials, I guess, if you will, or cases on there. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to entertain, try and find wacky things and people who are kind of outrageous personalities and are in trouble for ridiculous type things. What do you, when you produce these shows, what's your role? What are you doing? What's a day-to-day or week to week look like for you?
So for court shows, I actually do post-production, and I'm actually posting Kevin O'Leary's new show called Money Court right now on CNBC. Super excited about it. Kevin's so talented. So that's a lot of editing work. Another show, it just depends on. We usually do a show and a half a day. So I also like for the doctors, I just finished up a gig with them last year. For them, I'm a field producer. So I do field and post. So that basically the show is booked. The producer gives me their vision for what the field piece needs to be. And then I either go, obviously with COVID, we were all doing Zoom sessions, but now things are starting to open up and I'll be with my crews again. So I facilitate the shoot. I do all the interviews. I'm usually behind the camera in that regard. And then we bring all that footage back and then I edit it down to a 1:30 tape piece that you see before they come out on the show, like before they hit the stage. So yeah, it's fun. And I like doing both. I like doing interviewing and I also like doing the post-production. So I like doing the whole thing. I like doing the setup and then the interview, and then I can see it through to post and putting it all together. So it's cool.
So working on a courtroom show and the pregnancy, which has just been nominated again. Is there other types of shows or some specific show that you hope to work on?
I mean, I'm really trying to focus on the sports stuff right now. I mean, my goal in the next year to 2 years is Fox Sports, ESPN, CBS Sports, whatever. I really want to go there. Right now, I'm working for a show called Crush House. It's on VegasWinners.com. I'm the field reporter there. So Sean Salisbury, former quarterback and ESPN analyst, he's amazing. Frank Nicotero, who used to host Street Smarts, he's funny as hell. And then Rick Mahorn, obviously Bad Boy, Detroit Pistons, 76ers. They're the co-host. As well as Angelica Bridges. She's amazing. She's ex-Baywatch, and I believe ex-Playmate as well. She's kind of a commentator as well. She does some field shoots, and then I do field reporting on that. So that's been super fun to work with those guys and to do that as well. Because like last week I was in Atlanta. I was working with the Falcons cheerleaders. Next week I'll be in Philadelphia. I'm going to be working with Mark McMillan, who's a former Eagle. He has a charity event. I'll be there, as well as Ron Jaworski. He's got a celebrity golf tournament, and I'm going to be interviewing some of the former Eagles there as well. So it's super fun to kind of do a mix of. I'm doing a mix of reality and sports right now, and I could not be happier.
Can you continue to do both, or do you have to focus on one? Is it going to be sports, 5 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I would eventually want to get into sports full time. But for right now, I'm kind of balancing both until that can happen.
And the dream job, is it a host of a show? Is it a sideline reporter? Is it, I'm in front of the Patriots training facility and reporting? Which is best?
Ideally, I want to be a sideline reporter. I want to be at the game, interviewing the guys on the field, and I'm an action girl, and I love being in the stadium. Is my favorite thing in the world. As far as that's concerned, I've been told I'm more of a host, so I just signed with an agent. So he was like, he's like, I see you as a host more so. He's like, but we can try sideline if that's what you really want to do. So he's like, you can do both, but yeah. So I'm not gonna want a sideline, but if I get a hosting position, that would be amazing too. So.
Yeah, I don't, obviously they're always there.
Yeah.
For all the games. I don't find the sideline reporter questions that great overall. I don't know if there's what would you suggest? Because some of them are just so obvious. Some of them they know the coach isn't going to answer. How do you coming in and out of halftime? How do you make that worthwhile TV instead of right now? It's kind of just based on what the coach. If the coach says something outrageous, it's good. If not, it's just a little ho-hum, in my opinion. And this is not a female thing. This is all of them.
Right. And I think Erin Andrews is amazing. I think you just have to find that special thing and go with it. Something to do a little something different. But I get what you're saying. I think it's tough because everything's happening live, and you just have to kind of go with the flow. And I think that's a little hard for some people. And I think I feel like some of the sideline reporters don't necessarily know the game that well. So you have to know the game in order to really be there. So that's another.
Are they fed the questions? Are they making your own questions? Is it a combination of the two?
It's a combination of the two. There's usually a producer in your ear to, kind of giving you questions as well. So I like to do my own stuff just because I'm a producer too, but it depends.
Well, that's why I like, the reality TV that you said, within sports, it's real. The reality stuff, as far as other stuff, I'm not a big fan of reality TV because I don't think it's real. I understand it's scripted and it's entertainment and
well, it didn't used to be, and that's why I used to love it, because it used to be real. And back in the day, things were real, and now I feel like it's not, and that's why I want to make that transition, because I'm all about being real, and I'm all about the passion of the realness, and that's kind of why I want to get into sports, because I hate following a script. You can't put me in a box, and you can't keep me to a script. So that's why I kind of want to, making that transition.
I wouldn't be able to remember a script anyway, even if you could try to make to a script. I'm not it's unbelievable how the actors can remember that, movies, even more, I think musicals like Broadway, where there's no breaks, movies, TVs, you mess up. Obviously, if you mess up too much, you're not going to have a job very long, but it's still amazing. And then singers who can remember, 50 of their songs. It's incredible to me.
And dance moves to go with it too.
Yeah. I think if you miss a dance move, you might be okay. You start missing lyrics, your fans are gonna know about it. Our friend Al out in the UK says, "Got to keep it real." You ever see the Dave Chappelle when keeping it real goes wrong?
No.
Oh, man,
I apparently have to though.
Yeah, Chappelle's got some great stuff, but when keeping it real goes wrong is pretty good. And then there was another. I'll send you some stuff you could watch. There's some funny stuff in movies and shows that are related to keeping it real. But
it's real. I mean, like when shit's going down, so it's definitely real. You know what I mean? It's live and boom.
But they're navigating towards reality type programming in sports, like the Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch of other stuff too. Even just turning fighting leagues into reality. There's a lot of fighting involved, but there's got to be storylines there. Nobody cares of a series that's just a fighting. I think Professional Fighting League is on ESPN now, which is a league I know MMA used to have some stuff, UFC and fighting like that. Gaming, how about esports? I mean,
huge. Sports betting and esports right now is huge. So yeah, that's the trend. And that's what I think makes me a little bit different from the sports reporters that are out there now, is I like to get intimate with kind of not the guys' lives, but like there's a life besides football and baseball and hockey, and they're regular human beings, and I like to tap into that too. Like, yeah, I know my X's and O's, but I like to get the human element from the athletes as well, and I don't think a lot of sports reporters do that. It's like
they get a bad rap. Obviously, the Naomi Osaka ordeal was partly because of her mental health, but partly because the stuff she has to deal with when she's in front of reporters who ask some great questions, some ridiculous questions, and that's their job. They're doing their job.
Yep.
But, it's interesting the way that people are. And some people don't want to talk to the media. Someone like Mike Trout, who just wants to play baseball and he's not going to be the face of the game. It doesn't matter how hard you try.
Yep.
But there's plenty of people out there who have personality and who will put asses in the seat and sell newspapers. Well, no one's buying newspapers anymore, but
long gone. But yeah, no, I felt bad for her, but also too, it's kind of part of the job.
Yeah, it's part of the job, but if you need, they could have accommodated her. I just look, if she needed to take a break for mental health, I'm all for it for anyone. And I say this every time we talk about it.
It's huge too. I mean,
yeah, I say it every time we talk about it. She was lucky enough to be able to take off. There's plenty of people who can't because they'll lose their job, and that tennis needs her more than she needs tennis at this point in her life. But yeah, it is part of your job, and she's going to have to learn how to navigate through that. And I think the Tennis Association will probably, help navigate her through that. And reporters should be, reporters want to be, mostly friends with or friendly with them because you want access to them.
Yep.
So if the player knows that you're going to ask them some question, like gotcha question, they're just not going to do it. I had that instance with the Wolff Den. And there was no ill will. I had something in a promo that one of my guests didn't like, and he canceled the show. And it wasn't really meant to be a gotcha. It was just, hey, it's part of your life. We could have not talked about it. I've not talked about celebrity stuff and on here before, but yeah, you gotta be friendly, but you also got to do your job and ask the right questions. So you don't want to be too close to them where you can't ask them the questions that you need to ask them. So how do you navigate through that?
I mean, I think you just have to feel the room, to be honest. You have to, different people are in different moods, different, I kind of ask, I always have a rundown of questions that I want to ask. And then once I'm in the moment, I kind of, like I said, I feel the room, feel their temperament of what's going on, and see how, seeing how sensitive they'll be to stuff. And then if I feel like I can go for a harder question, I will. If I don't, I'm still going to get something. You know what I mean?
Are you planning on being at the Super Bowl in some capacity?
So I've actually been in the last 4 Super Bowls. So,
Okay.
But yeah, in some capacity, absolutely. And plus, too, the next one's in LA. So, I mean, I live here, so I can't wait. Everybody was talking about LA in Miami. I'm not sorry, in Tampa already, because it was Miami, Tampa. Everyone's so excited for LA because everything will be open, and the Tampa was fun. But I was very excited that the Bucs were in the Super Bowl, because otherwise it wouldn't have had the fan base. The city wouldn't have been as alive, and it was a really great experience. But yeah,
we're going to LA for our sports weekend in September for opening weekend.
Nice.
We'll be at USC Stanford football, and then we'll be at the Rams Sunday night.
Bears.
And, we'll be at the Dodgers. So we're excited about that. And I hope to be at the Super Bowl in LA in some capacity with Ticket Time Machine. Still working on the details for that, but
Cool.
Should be exciting. Give me your who are your favorite reporters, television personalities?
I mean, Erin Andrews.
A Mount Rushmore. Give us a Mount Rushmore.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, Erin Andrews, definitely a sports reporter. I think she's fantastic.
Have you reached out to her?
You know what? It's so funny. She lives in Hermosa Beach. She lives a couple blocks away from me, and I haven't, and I really should. We definitely have some friends in common. I think I'm waiting to get a little bit more experience under my belt before I go there. Because I think she's
no time like the present.
Huge connection. God, as far as favorite actors or actresses, I mean, Reese Witherspoon, amazing. I've always been a huge Stephen Dorff fan.
Yeah.
As far as hosting, I think Mario Lopez is bomb. I've worked with him before too. He's great. You get in, he's like, let me know what you need me to do, and then he's like, he gets it done, and he's like, are we good? Let's go.
Great.
He's very, very professional, very nice. Is so good what he does.
Carved out a nice life for himself.
He really has. And then, I mean, obviously Ryan Seacrest is amazing as well, and I've worked with him as well. So
if he burnt out, I mean, is he gonna run himself ragged? Sometimes I look at him and I'm like, holy smokes.
Yeah, he's done so much between his production company and I don't know how he sleeps. And he's not young anymore either. I mean, he has to. He's got to be, what, 48, 46, 40. So, I mean, not that that's old, but woo. Yeah, I mean, I actually met him. I did a blooper show and I was an extra, and he was still on the radio at that point. It was right before American Idol hit. And he was super great. He was super fun. And I was like, who's this guy? You could tell he was special from the second he kind of walked in. So I was excited to see his career kind of evolve and see how, how successful he's been. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't sleep. He can't sleep.
Do you watch any late night shows or sports shows specifically that you love? I watch I record PTI. I happen to like this a lot.
I love Good Morning Football. Kyle, Kay, Nate. Actually, I know Nate Burleson. He's fantastic. But yeah, I love Kay too. I think she's as a host. I think she's fantastic because she knows her stuff, and she's got a great personality. And it's kind of her and the guys, and that's kind of how I see myself working too. I love it when I'm bouncing sports stuff off all of the guys too. And obviously Mina Kimes is amazing as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good programming in the sports world that I think it's only getting better. A lot of athletes who are in the broadcasting, some great, some not so great. But Tony Romo, to me, unbelievable. I hated him as a football player. He's so good in the booth.
So good in the booth.
It's crazy how good he is, and he's young too. So. Lance is actually from my high school.
Cool.
He's kind of I love Jim Nance too, but he's on the second half of his career, although he's still not that old himself.
Did you watch the Nickelodeon broadcast of Wild Card
I
Weekend?
saw some clips, but I didn't.
I'm still talking about it to this day. It was so great. I mean, Nate Burleson was the color analyst on it, and they had a couple of different Nickelodeon stars, and it brought football down to a kid's level, and someone who doesn't watch football and doesn't know the game. It was so much fun with the graphics and the green slime and and I thought it was great that it brought kids into, like a daughter could watch football with her dad.
They just didn't they do an NBA thing in Fortnite or Roblox? One of those two.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
An special NBA thing in either Roblox or Fortnite. I can't remember. Anyway, what's your bucket list? If you can only do one game that you're going to be either, I guess, in the booth or on the sidelines, what would you pick?
I mean, Eagles Super Bowl, hands down.
Eagles.
I believe Reeds.
Gotta get back. I was thinking more of the game, not the team. My wife is actually a Philly fan, and I got her a cameo from John Dorenbos.
I love him.
The morning of our wedding, I sent it to her, and her family met him. Her mom knitted a little baby thing for him. He's great. I'd love to have him on the show. John, if you're watching, come on the show.
I have a picture. Wait, hold on. I have the picture's right here. It's on my laptop though. Hold on. Where? Oh my goodness. No, I don't have it. I'm like, I wish
I got some.
You knew him. I knew you knew him because I would have had this like prepped. I have a great picture of him, and he was doing a magic trick for my friends, and I was his assistant. So it's him and I, and I'm like holding up the card. I'm in like my Eagles wear, and he's like, it was great. I'll send it to you.
My Philly stuff. You'll like some of the Philly stuff that I had done because they're a Philly family, and I grew up in New Jersey, so I always kind of liked the Eagles a little bit because I didn't like I hate the Cowboys and I'm not crazy about the Redskins. We're gonna let you go.
I mean, Washington football team I love Ron Rivera, and I'm really excited to see the competition that they give this season. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, hopefully the East will do better than they did last year. They certainly can't do any worse.
Right.
Maybe they could do worse. I don't want to jinx anything. We're going to let you out of here on the same question. You let everyone go. You have one person that you could spend a day with. They have to be living, and you can't be related to them. Who would you like to choose, and what are you guys going to do? I have a list going. We're going to try and make it happen for our guests. I've already done some outreach for some of them, obviously without success. We've had some really, hard to get ones, and we had some achievable ones, but don't pick whoever you want. Don't worry about how easy or hard it'll be.
All right. So I'm not even going to go sports on this one, which is hysterical. I'm going to go Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. Okay.
Huge Britney Spears fan, and I just want to dance.
Okay.
Like an hour with her. I think she's an amazing performer. And I go Britney Spears
in the club.
Dancing.
That's a great pick. I love it. I would love to go dancing in a club with Britney. Who wouldn't? All right, it's on the list.
Awesome.
Good luck with the Emmy.
Thanks, man.
Great to chat. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll follow what you're doing, and looking forward to it. I'm going to send you some Eagles stuff. You'll
Sounds
get a kick out of it, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Come back tomorrow for another episode of the Wolff Den. And until then, have a great day.
Thanks. Go Birds.
Eagles fly.